Hello everybody, I'm River from the Portland City Gym, here with another, deck. That's right, it's a deck. Sorry. This is the other, in my opinion, the second best VMAX from Legendary Heartbeat, Togekiss VMAX. Now, there's really not much else to say before the actual deck list, so let's just get right into it. We play a 4/4 Togekiss VMAX line, just a consistent way to get it out. That's about it, really. So Togekiss V has 200 HP. It's meh. It has 2 attacks. The first one for 1 colorless energy, just sorry. It does 20 damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, it does 70 more. So you're doing 90 damage to an evolution Pokemon. That's okay. You're not really going to be using that unless you really have to. So yeah, that's really it. It has another attack for 3 colorless. It does 130 and nothing else. It's just a plain 130 damage. It's really not good. You don't even want to have to invest 3 energy into Togekiss to use that attack, so just don't use it. 2 copies of, Togekiss VMAX, 310 HP, free retreat, so that's pretty cool. And for 2 colorless energy, it does 120 damage, and you search your deck for any 2 cards and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. It's pretty good. You're able to search out really anything you need. So what you can do is you can do a lot of crazy setup things for next turn. As you can see here, there are a few things that you could definitely search out. We have Chromatid V for extra draw support next turn. We have Crushing Hammers. We have, Mallow and Lana. We have Boss's Orders, so you can take a sneaky knockout next turn. We have Scoop Up Nuts to bring up our Galarian Zigzagoons, more on that later. And we have Vitality Bands if we want to hit more damage next turn. And we also have Powerful Energy, but if you're able to use the attack, you shouldn't be attaching any more energy. So that's Togekiss VMAX. It's pretty simple, 120 damage, search your deck for 2 cards. For 2 colorless and free retreat, pretty good. It has a weakness to lightning, but, it's okay. So yeah. That's Togekiss VMAX. Next we play 3 copies of Crobat V. I wanted this to be a very fast and consistent list with things like Togekiss VMAX. This gives us you could definitely play a more control version of the deck. You could play things like Chip Ice Axe and such to make sure that, well, actually, isn't Chip Ice Axe rotating? I'll get back to you on that one, but because I'll look it up. But so yeah, you could play a more control version. However, I didn't opt for that. Next, so the Crobat V is used to draw into things better. We don't play Latios Gx for a very specific reason that you could probably see on screen. Next up is 1 copy of Gengar and Mimikyu. This is it has our GX attack of choice. So your talking's difficult. You have to understand. It has the GX attack of choice, Horror House, where your opponents can't play any cards from their hand during their next turn. So basically, this gives us a stall. A stall to do whatever we want, really. We could attach another energy to Gengar and Mimikyu, or we could stall and attach another energy to Togekiss VMAX if we really want to. We don't have to, but we can if we want to, because that's, we're the one playing. So, yeah, Gengar Mimikyu, just a standard Psychic Pokemon. Any deck that plays a multitude of Psychic-type Pokemon, like Psychic Box, anything like that, should really play Gengar Mimikyu. It's probably, in my opinion, it's the second best psychic type tag team aside from, Mew Mew, obviously. So yeah, it's there for that reason. And then one copy of Latios Gx. Now, Latios Gx might seem like a really weird inclusion, and the reason for that, there's two reasons. First of all, it's to combat Pikarom. Obviously, we are weak to lightning, so Pikarom just absolutely demolishes this deck if you attach, say, like a Vitality Band or something to that effect. So we want Latios just to counter it. Also, just as a 2-prize attacker. For those who don't know how Pokemon works, I don't know why you're here, but we use Latios as our 2-prize attacker. The reason we want a 2-prize attacker is because Togekiss is a 3-prizer, which means that we can have our Togekiss knocked out, have a Latios knocked out, and then have another Togekiss knocked out. However, if we just played 2 Togekiss, then we'd automatically lose the game. Basically, it makes the game 8 prize. It makes your opponent have to take 8 prize cards instead of 6. So that's why we play a 2-prizer. Then we play 1 copy of Galarian Zigzagoon. 120 is kind of pitiful. We play Powerful Energy, but if we attach 2, 160 is still not great with the Vitality Band. 170, it 2-shots everything in the game, I guess. But we want Galarian Zigzagoon to kind of fix some of the math, so it's very good for that. So yeah, that's the entire Pokemon lineup. 4 copies of Professor's Research. This is just to discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Very standard stuff. 4 Boss's Orders. When we have 2 Powerful Energy attached, or when we use a Vitality Band and 1 Galarian Zigzagoon with 1 Powerful Energy, we're able to one-shot a Dedenne, and if we really want to, Vitality Band, 1 Galarian Zigzagoon, and 2 Powerful Energy. We can knock out Crobat V. So, of course, Boss's Orders is very good just to bring them up. Then 4 copies of Marnie. It's kind of like just the standard draw support, 4 research, 4 Marnie, and just to help you draw consistently. 2 copies of Mallow and Lana. Mallow and Lana just to heal things off. 310 is kind of a difficult number to hit, even with things like Eternatus in the format, or about to be in the format. It's still a difficult number to hit, so Mallow and Lana can heal some of the damage off. And we have Free Retreat, so it doesn't really matter. Then, wait a minute. 1 second. Sorry about this. I can just... Okay. Alright. 2 copies of Guzma and Hala. We're just going to ignore that ever happened. Guzma and Hala can find us Powerful Energy, our Vitality Band, and our Power Plant, all in just one go. So Guzma and Hala is very good. I feel like Guzma and Hala is kind of an underrated tag team supporter compared to things like Cynthia and Caitlyn, or most notably Mallow and Lana. But it's very good in this deck, so that's why we play 2 of it. 4 copies of Quick Ball. Just search your deck for Pokemon. That's pretty neat. 4 copies of Crushing Hammer. Crushing Hammer is probably one of the main things we want to search for when we play Togekiss VMAX and use its attack. 2 Crushing Hammers just to disrupt our opponent. A lot of people keep on making the joke, for those who follow us on Twitter, which you should definitely go do at the Portland Gym. Then there's a lot of jokes going around on how people just add Hammer into every conceivable list that has the room. For those who don't know that meme format, they're saying Hammer go brrr, and that's pretty accurate, honestly. Crushing Hammer is just really, really good in a variety of decks, and we play 4 of them, and it's really good to search out. Search cards that can deliberately just go and search cards out have always been really good, really, really good mill archetypes, or ones with kind of, like Cinccino. The reason why Cinccino is such a good mill deck is because it's able to get all of the disruptive resources with Make Do. So that's why it's such a good mill deck. And it's kind of the same thing here, except it's better than Cinccino, and it does damage. And like I said, of course, if you want to play Chip Chip Ice Axe and go for a more control version of the deck, you can. I actually looked it up. It's from Broken Bonds, which I completely forgot about. So it does not rotate. So yeah. 3 copies of Pokegear 3.0. We do play a lot of supporters, but Pokegear is just to give us that extra consistency. The goal of this deck was really just to run as smooth as butter. You always want to make sure you have everything you need, and that was kind of just the theme I was building around when I was making this deck, which kind of makes me think, man, well then shouldn't you have put in some evolution incense? And no, I don't think I should have. I stand with that decision. I do not want to add evolution incenses because I feel like it's a waste of space, when we're probably going to end up drawing into it naturally because we play 4 copies of them. 3 copies of Vitality Band. This is just so that we can do an extra 10 damage every time we attack. Again, 2 Powerful Energy makes it 160. Vitality Band makes it 170. And then Galarian Zigzagoon makes it 180. Able to knock out Crobats. And just 2 Powerful Energy is able to knock out a Dedenne. So, just definitely very good numbers. And Vitality helps out with that. Especially since Crobat V is going to be extremely played. So, yeah. And then 3 copies of Scoop Up Net. Scoop Up Net, they're just to scoop up our Galarian Zigzagoons if we need to do 210 damage. I mean, I could see a situation where that would be useful. You know, you're up against a VMAX deck and they have 210 HP. Then you just knock them out. And with 100, and when your base damage is 120, that's kind of pitiful. You know, so Vitality Band. And Scoop Up Net. 1 copy of Tool Scrapper, because tools can be kind of annoying. Like I said before, Pikarom just absolutely bodies this deck when it has a copy of Vitality Band on it, or when Raichu and Alolan Raichu attack, pretty much. So we just really need a way to get rid of all their damage modifiers to give us a perfect knockout, so we play a copy of Tool Scrapper for that matchup. 1 copy of Ordinary Rod. This is just to get back any of our Psychic Energy and our Pokemon back. Definitely just very, very standard stuff. 3 copies of Power Plant, because we don't play any basic EX and GX abilities. Unless you count Latios, and that's an ability that hinders it. So I think getting rid of that would be the better solution anyway. So that's all the trainers and supporters and items and stuff. Next up is the energy, which of course you guys could have seen the whole time, which I forgot to do my normal intro. Sorry, been a bit thrown off my game today. So yeah, 4 copies of Powerful Energy, as said before. Is a very, very great card. You can just let your Togekiss do 20 more damage. And 5 copies of Basic Psychic Energy. I don't really think you need any more than that. We play a copy of Ordinary Rod, so even if you invest a bunch of Psychic Energy into Latios, you can always get back 2 of the 3. And yeah, so that is a Togekiss VMAX list that I went with. Definitely stay tuned for an updated version, because I really like the idea of this deck as a control archetype. However, I want to just go with a baseline version of the deck, just to get something out there, you know? But yeah, definitely stay tuned for this, because along with Alcremie VMAX, I feel like this has a lot of potential as kind of a Tier 2, Tier 3 surprise, you know? Like, as I use the this metaphor, not a metaphor, not this, it's not really a metaphor, example, know why I couldn't think of example, as I use this example a lot, Mega Odd No One Worlds. So at this point, I feel like things like Togekiss VMAX Could definitely win Worlds. I 100% wouldn't be surprised if it could. I mean, okay, I would be a little bit surprised, but nonetheless, definitely an interesting deck. And definitely has a lot of potential in the future. And I've run out of things to talk about. So, after all this, I'm Murph from the Portland City Gym, signing out.